Hello friends, today we're going to be talking about the causes of the American Civil War. But first, I'm going to give a little introduction about it before we start about the causes. So basically the Civil War is the United States divided into the northern part and the southern part. The northern side basically disliked slavery, and the southern made sure it kept growing, and it was to help their economy develop and grow, just like that. Abraham Lincoln was with the northern side, and the southern side was President Jefferson Davis, basically like that. And they were fighting, and basically the southern sides seceded after a few causes, and that's kind of what caused the Civil War. And Lincoln and the southern sides fought. Two generals, Ulysses S. Grant and General Lee, fought against each other, and pretty much Ulysses S. Grant and his team won the war, and the United States were finally together again. That's basically the introduction of the Civil War, the American Civil War. So let's start with the first cause, and it's one of the most major causes of the Civil War, which is slavery. Basically, the northern sides disliked it, and the southern supported it and kept it growing. One of the reasons why the southern side supported slavery was because of economy, which will be our second reason that I'll be explaining later. And the northern side basically disliked slavery because they relied on industrializing factories, basically like that. And they didn't really use agriculture as their main thing for economy, and they don't really support it, of course. Some actions that they use that basically proves that they don't like slavery was the Underground Railroad, and a lot of abolitionists, just like that. While the southern sides had people who supported slavery, like General Lee, since he obviously fought for the southern side, and President Davis, I think, and he was the president of the Confederate States of America. Yes, let's go to the second reason of the American Civil War, which is economy. As I told you, the northern side basically used factories making clothes, while the southern side used the slaves to work and collect the cotton, tobacco, and basically sold it around Europe, maybe like that, just like that. Also, a little fact that I know is that Europe relied on the Confederate States of America's tobacco and cotton. They exported it out to Europe. I think that's what they said. That's what some articles said, and I think it's pretty much true. Alright, let's go to the third cause, which is the election of Abraham Lincoln. You may be asking, why is that? And it's because the southern sides disliked Lincoln and thought that he was going to take away their slaves. And Lincoln said he wouldn't, but the southern side obviously did not trust him for some reason. And they basically seceded, like not even after Lincoln was elected. He wasn't even elected, yet a few states seceded until the whole southern side already seceded. And it was all just because Abraham Lincoln, who was part of the North, disliked slavery. So yes, that's one reason. And the northern side obviously voted for Lincoln since he was part of the North team and he disliked slavery as well. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why. And next is state rights versus federal law. So basically, the southern side thought that any state could secede anytime they want, basically state rights. But obviously, Lincoln knew that wasn't part of the rules, and he said that wasn't allowed. But they pretty much seceded anyway, and they basically fought for their state rights. So as you can see, slavery is not really the only main cause of the Civil War, and it's actually pretty surprising to me ever since I knew that there were many more causes than slavery. That actually shocked me myself. And what's this called? The law? Oh, Federal law. Federal law was basically the main law of the United States, and basically anyone was under the law. So the states basically were disobeying it, and the northern side said it wasn't fair that they were just going to switch up the rules. So that's pretty much what triggered Abraham Lincoln into joining in the Civil War. Yeah, that's one of them, and it's actually very surprising. And also, in the future, Abraham Lincoln thought that if the states' rights, basically the southern side of the rules, it means that whenever the states did not dislike the law, the federal law, then they could just secede anytime they want, and that would cause something bad that might happen in the future generations. So obviously Lincoln decided to not let that happen. So yeah, that's pretty much what I know, and let's go ahead on to a summary. So one is the economic differences between the northern and southern states. As I pretty much will just simplify it, there were big economic differences. The northern side, let's just say, had a very good economy. It was stable. It was pretty much fine with industrialized things, factories, basically like that, which is actually pretty good since they're not really using slaves and taking away their right to live. So yeah, that's pretty much fine. While the southern states decided to rely on agriculture, pretty much because their land was actually nice down there or something. Yeah, and they used slaves to collect the cotton, tobacco, and many more plants, which I pretty much don't know, but let's go along with that. Number two is demand for more state rights versus for more federal rights. As I told you, the northern told the southern that they weren't allowed to just secede whenever they wanted, causing the United States to fall apart pretty much, and they were disobeying the federal law, while the northern side stuck with it and went with the federal law, of course, since it's above everyone. Yeah, that's one reason, and I hope I simplified it good enough. Next is North America's widespread campaign against enslavement and practices in the South. Basically, they did not like the fact that slavery was going to spread across, and Lincoln was also very against it. He said he wouldn't take the slaves from the South, but he kind of actually did, since he signed the Emancipation Proclamation. I mean, it made a lot of lives happy, so I mean, that's nothing wrong with that. But Lincoln said he wouldn't take away the southern slaves. He would just stop the widespread of it, and that's exactly what he just wanted to do. He wanted to stop it from growing so that no more future families would be affected by slavery. That actually makes sense. Next thing.
But what happened?
But what happened is that he stopped slavery. He didn't just stop it from spreading, he stopped it entirely. So that's actually very good. Alright, let's move on to the next one, which is the election of Abraham Lincoln to the post of the U.S. President. As I told you, everyone in the South disliked Lincoln, and pretty much Lincoln got most of his votes, like about 100% of his votes from the North, obviously, while President Davis, who was the President of the Confederate States of America, well, I'm pretty sure where he got his votes, and I'm pretty sure you know too, the South, obviously. And surprisingly, Lincoln won by a huge landslide because it actually got a bunch of votes, let's just say. So yeah, just because someone from the North ran for president, the South they were just going to leave and secede right away, because there was a big chance that Lincoln could win the election. So yeah, that are pretty much the causes of the Civil War. And I actually like one of them, which I didn't expect them there to be a lot of causes. I really thought before that the main cause was slavery and slavery only, but there's actually many more causes, and I should actually expect the unexpected now, and this is actually unexpected. And I enjoyed talking about most of the the causes of the American Civil War, since there's a bunch of civil wars.
How about Harriet?
Oh, Harriet Tubman, that's one of the
Abolition.
abolitionists. Yes, she basically freed slaves from the Underground Railroad, I think, and she's actually a good woman. She's a free black person. Yep. And one of them is two Harriets, in fact. Harriet Beecher Crow, I think. She wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, and it spread worldwide, especially in England, and even Queen Victoria saw it. That's a true fact. And actually, it's one of the most famous novels, and a lot of people teared up because of that. There's actually two Harriets who despised slavery. Can you believe it? Yay! And I think one of them is John Brown. The southern side say that it's his fault that the Civil War caused, and he was the one who made the first move causing the Civil War. But it was actually the battle on Fort Sumter. Yeah, that's one of the reasons. The battle in Fort Sumter caused the Civil War. It triggered Abraham Lincoln. You know, the southern sides thought Lincoln would just say, "Okay, fine, South, you won this time. I'm not going to interfere." But Abraham Lincoln said, it's no time for any battles, and he decided to fight for the North. And basically, the United States is a full nation now. Yay! So, after that, that's actually one reason. That's actually the one reason of the Civil War that I actually forgot to mention. So, yeah. Also, there are many people who have fought for the Civil War. Even about 10% of the Civil War's army were black, because they knew exactly what they were fighting for.
Very good. Good job, anak. Love you.
Thank you, Ty. So yeah, those are pretty much what I know, and goodbye everybody. I hope you enjoyed my video about the causes of the American Civil War. Goodbye!